And our big story tonight has been the big story for a while. For almost 2 weeks now, we've been trying to get more answers about the more than 100 people across Oregon who died in the heat wave. We haven't gotten a lot yet. We've got some stuff, zip codes and some racial and gender breakdown, but that's about it. We've still been asking questions, though, every night on this show because we want the specifics about where these people lived when they died so we can figure out a little bit more about what went wrong. And no more. Next time there could be some record-breaking temperatures showing up in our forecast. Now today, we finally got some more of those answers. Multnomah County released a report and confirmed that at least 54 people in the county died in the heat. There's some more suspected deaths, but right now they're waiting to confirm the exact cause of deaths in those other cases. Now, those 54, more than half lived in multifamily housing. So that's stuff like apartment buildings or duplex. And many of those people also lived on an upper floor. Now, at least 4 people died in affordable or transitional housing. 2 people died in assisted living facilities, and at least 2 people were homeless and died in their cars.
All right, Pat, let's talk about this for just a minute. I wanted to talk about what was in the homes that these people had to keep them cool. Nobody had an air conditioning. The people who did, they were either not working or not plugged in or not turned on. And some people had fans, but those didn't really seem to work either. Even in some cases, they were saying it made it worse that they had a fan.
Right. Well, the idea is that if the temperature that the fan is blowing is cooler than you are, it'll help cool you down. But their point was when the indoor temperature is 90 degrees or higher, which it was in a lot of places, now you're just blowing hot air onto your skin and making things worse. You're making it harder for your own body to cool off. So it's deceptive, but it's real.
What about the air conditioning situation? What more did we learn about that?
Yeah, well, that's just brutal. Most people were living in places that just did not have air conditioning. There were 2 or 3 in some of the high rises that are public housing that were built way before you needed air conditioning. So it's just not there. And then, as you mentioned, there were 8 who did have some form of air conditioning, but they told us that only one of those 8 was actually working and it could not keep up with the heat. So very sad, but it just shows you sort of the pathetic state of cooling systems throughout our city with the most vulnerable people.
Now, this is just kind of a preliminary snapshot at this point. There are different organizations, or I guess the county, the state, they're putting together their own more robust reporting on this. And apparently they're rushing through it. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about what they said about that today. And I'm wondering what more you think we'll learn of any consequence that might give us a bigger understanding about what happened.
Sure. Well, the county said that usually a deep dive like this would take a year. Instead, they're going to put it together in a month, and they're giving us kind of the brief preview 2 weeks in from the heat wave. And that's because usually it takes so long because they want all kinds of in-depth reports, and they want to interview everybody for hours. And, what did you do? What could have been done? Where did we miss things? And instead, they're going to fast track that and say, come on, give me your top 3 things. What happened? That sort of thing. So I think some of the things they're going to do, which are pretty obvious to the rest of us, is they're going to really look at 211 hard because for crying out loud, that's where all of us were telling people to call that week into the heat wave, and they didn't have any staffing. They all went home. Are you kidding me? So they're going to make sure that never happens again. Also on the buses, people were being thrown off the buses because they didn't have fare, but they were on there to stay cool. They're going to make sure that never happens again. They're going to look at probably opening more cooling centers closer to people on the county scale because they had those 3 big ones that were open 24 hours, but it was kind of a hassle to get to them. And then one other thing that I'm kind of hearing whispered about is one thing they might be talking to the governor about is next time there's a heat wave, what would it take to declare some of these tall apartment buildings without air conditioning unfit for human habitation, condemn them for a week or something, and make everybody move out. Is that possible? It sure be heavy-handed by the state, but it's something that might be considered. So that'll be fascinating to wait and see what shakes out on that.
Yeah, potentially some drastic steps here. All right. Pat Doris with the latest. Thank you, sir.
It's always my pleasure. Thanks.